Okay, everything is ready. So let's start. Hello, friends. I'm very glad to welcome all of you on our Power webinar. And today we are going to talk about the HR strategy and about the template for each development. So this is our plan for today, and let's start. Our class program, we will be talking about what is HR strategy, what are the objectives for HR strategy? So why actually we develop the strategy? Some strategy options that you may use, when to create and to draft the strategy, what you can't develop without, how to draft the strategy, and how to implement. So this is our plan, and actually let's start. What we call HR strategist. HR strategy is a very popular word in HR industry and HR sphere. HR strategy or human resources strategy is a long-term plan that defines how an organization will use its employees to achieve its business goals. It's very important to understand. First, it's long-term, it's not short-term, so it's for at least 1 year. But usually it's not just about the 1 year, but usually it includes some further goals and at least directions. It also not just about people. People are very important, the core for many businesses. They are humans and human beings, of course, but it's always about business and business goals. So we need to connect our HR practices, HR actions, HR efforts with something that business needs. And usually it ties HR goals to the organizational goals to make sure they work together and deliver value. So it should be connected. And that's why it's very good to have business strategy first and then develop the HR strategy. But if your company doesn't have business strategy, doesn't mean you can't develop the HR strategy. You may have some business focuses for the year, or you may analyze business needs, or you may talk to seniors and discuss their expectations from HR department. So we can connect with something in the business. But of course, if we have business strategy, it's very good for developing HR strategy. Then HR strategy just contributes into the business strategy. What are the goals of HR strategy? Turn HR audit results into an action plan. I said that HR audit checklist is not the final point. It's just like an interim project. You do HR audit to continue with action plan. And HR strategy is the best place to locate this action plan. Then link the work of the HR department to the company's current business goals. Sometimes HR department works in an absolutely different direction or focuses only on operational work, but it's not so valuable for the company compared to the situation when HR department works on business goals and business objectives and business issues. Then, to take into account the needs of employees and to build a win-win approach. There is also another part in this formula, which called employees. And we can't ignore employees, because if we ignore employees, then they ignore us. They just leave the company, they stay disengaged, they prioritize their own motives and needs and interests via business needs. And it's not something we want to have, right? So HR strategy helps us to focus the whole strategy, the whole HR work and some part of company attention to employee needs to build this win-win approach, to have something in return. Also, it formulates specific annual HR goals with metric and results. So it makes HR work more precise, more data-driven, more goal-oriented than just reacting to some business requirements or requests. So it makes HR more proactive rather than reactive. Also, it helps to define the required HR structure. When HR director or HR lead works and feels there is no enough team members, that they need more roles, it's hard to prove these roles, and it's hard to have business approval to hire more people without some business case. And HR strategy acts as a business case to prove that we need more people. Also, it helps us to create HR budget to support the strategy. The same as for roles. If we want to spend some money on something, we need to show what we will achieve with this money. And the HR strategy is the best place to show how we achieve something important to the company, spending our HR budget. And also, it's about distributing the action plan to the HR team and set deadlines. So it's like a North Star metric or North Star goal for HR team, and it helps HR team to focus on their specific actions and to connect their own objectives, or OKR if you use this approach, with HR strategy. So this is a goals of HR strategy. In its essence, HR strategy acts as a bridge between the current situation of the company and the desired future situation with a specific plan for its erection and resources. Strategy options. There are some options that you may find to develop HR strategy. If you try to search HR strategy in Google or in other search engines, you will find different approach. There is approach which is called one-page strategic plan. It nowadays is quite popular, and it's good for the business as a very high-level view of business strategy, but it's not good enough for HR strategy to be more specific, more detail-oriented, more data-driven. So I'm not a fan to have one-page strategic plan for HR strategy. My template that I will share with you is, I would say it's like 2 or 3 pages. You may also use ChatGPT HR strategy. Now we have this tool, we may ask, help me develop HR strategy. We may ask for the template. We may put some input information, some context, and it develops HR strategy. But for this kind of document, ChatGPT is not enough. Or we may find just HR roadmap for a year, like an action plan. This is a good approach, but again, it's not enough because it's just a set of some actions or projects without any proof why we focus on these specific actions. Or you may apply what I call Power HR strategy approach to develop the strategy. And I think this approach is the best one. So one-page strategy is developed by Scaling Up company and the same book, and they propose to draw the strategy on the single page with these ideas. Actually, what I call Power HR strategy takes something from this template. It has several same ideas, but it's more developed one than one-page strategy. If we ask ChatGPT, ChatGPT will generate us a template, and if we compare the template with Power HR strategy, again, you will find some similarities, which is good. And you may find HR roadmap, which is another approach for developing HR strategy, but again, it's limited one. And our approach is to use Power HR strategy available with this link. So just clicking this link will lead you to Power HR strategy template and copying it. And again, as with other documents, don't forget to choose proper language because it's a multi-language tool. And now we will learn this HR strategy template in details. But first, let's discuss when to draft, when it's time to develop the strategy, simultaneously with drawing up the company strategy. So if it's time for your company to develop the company strategy, you start develop HR strategy at the same time. Or it could be as a continuation of completing HR audit. So if you just completed the HR audit, now it's good time to develop the HR strategy. Or sometimes you create the HR strategy when you hired the company or as a consultant, because sometimes companies hire you as a consultant to help them with the development of HR strategy. And you have this tool, so you can use this, and you may have some fee for this. And when you ask to prepare HR budget, so you create the strategy and then you include the HR budget, and HR strategy helps you to approve your HR budget, and it helps you to communicate why you are asking for this specific amount of money, without which it is impossible to develop the strategy. Without understanding the current situation in the company, so the starting point, for this we need HR audit, because if we don't look into all processes, all templates, all situation, then we draw HR strategy without complete understanding of what's happening, and that's not good. So we need to start from some kind of research or audit, and HR audit checklist is the best tool for study the current situation. Also, without understanding where the company is going. So you need to understand the maybe basic directions where a company is going, maybe by talking with senior leaders or by reading the business strategy, or maybe from other sources, but you need to have this understanding. And you need this understanding at several levels, like cultural level, in the format of strategic vision, in the form of strategic goals for the year, or in the form of the company priorities. Something here would help you to understand where company is leading or heading. And without scanning the environment, you need to do SWOT and PESTEL analysis. Otherwise, you will be creating what is called spherical horse in a vacuum. This is very famous metaphor. So what's the process for creating HR strategy? It's better to start from HR knowledge audit, just to have the understanding if you know everything from HR audit checklist and from HR strategy. Because if you have lack of knowledge, then you need to understand your blind spots. And it will help you to focus both on creating some processes and on developing yourself. So I recommend to complete HR knowledge audit before everything, then to complete HR audit checklist, and then to create HR strategy. How to compose HR strategy? What you have inside the template. Now we are looking into the template, but I will show you in presentation. You may open after this webinar the file and work with the file. It's completely the same. So in our HR strategy, we are starting from vision, mission, and values of the company. It's both for us, for better understanding what we need to include into HR strategy, and it's also for readers of our HR strategy, which could be senior leaders, the CEO, maybe even shareholders. With this, we show that our HR strategy is strongly connected to business goals, to business vision, mission, and values. It's very important. Then, based on this, based on company vision, mission, and values, we formulate the HR mission. HR mission is like a high-level objective of essence of HR department in the company. It helps to understand why HR department exists. Also, our presentation and our template has examples here, so it's very easy. You just read the example and try to describe your company in the same manner. So you don't need to invent from the beginning, from the scratch. You just analyze the example and you rewrite the example with your own situation. And also it has some tips what you need to do in each cell. Again, it's very helpful because you are directed, you are supported, you just fill the information with the examples and with these guidelines. So, mission of the HR departments. Here, just answer the question, why are we as an HR team here? What is the gap that was here without us that we are closing? Some emptiness that we feel with the existence of HR department. And it's very good to formulate. It also serves us as a, again, guiding point for all HR members and for the rest of the strategy. Then we write down the company goals. Even if there is no business strategy, ask the top executive, what are our priorities for this year? What would we like to accomplish? What would be great result of the year for us? So even without business strategy, senior leaders could just answer these simple questions, and then you put their answers in this strategic business goals cells. Then, after completing what is the business goal, you write down what is the purpose of HR it can support and which HR metric will allow you to track the target. So you just think about this. Then you move to strategic initiatives. You take a look at what initiatives businesses are working on. Because usually, if it has a business strategy or without business strategy, there are some projects that are running in business. Usually it involves cross-team members from different functions, like cross-functional teams. And you need to focus on how HR could help with these initiatives, again, from HR and from people side. Then you enter audit results and generate target values. So you have your audit results, these percentages. So you just populate this data from HR audit checklist. And then you think about next year's goals. So you have, let's say you have 50%. You think about, okay, how we can improve here? By analyzing the items in this direction, you set some goals. Let's say we want to improve this by 5%. Okay, so we have 55% as our next goal. And then you're writing a very basic recommendations, what you're going to do to increase this percentage. And again, by this, you are showing your readers, let's say the CEO, that you are starting from analyzing the current situation. You may also attach HR audit checklist file with all the information you populated to your HR strategy and show is a full document with a holistic approach and with a high-level view. Then you do a PESTEL analysis. Again, if you complete it with HR audit checklist, you already have this PESTEL analysis. I just want to remind that PESTEL stands for politics, economics, society, technologies, environment, and legislation. It's in the country and in the world. And you are describing what's happening here in every direction, how it could possibly impact the company, and how it could impact HR. And you do SWOT analysis, but now you not just fill SWOT analysis with strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. You are also trying to understand what the current situation with all these strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and strengths, and what's your strategy based on SWOT analysis. So this tool is called TOWS analysis, TOWS, means that we rotate all our columns and we have these two directions. So we analyze all our strengths and weaknesses, our opportunities and threats, and we need to choose one of possible strategies here. Strategies could be SO, ST, WO, and WT. SO means that we focus on strengths and opportunities. We have quite enough strengths, and we have good opportunities. We have little weaknesses, and threats are not so harmful and not so dangerous, so we can focus on strengths and opportunities. It's the position of very strong company. This strategy is called Maxi-Maxi, a strategy of using strengths to maximize opportunities. Or sometimes we have a lot of weaknesses, but there are some good opportunities. Then we choose WO, average company, mini-maxi strategy, a strategy to minimize weaknesses through provided opportunities. So you choose 1 out of 4 and you write it down, just for you to understand on what you are focusing your HR strategy. Then you set goals for HR and you choose metrics and you describe current metrics. You may include also business metrics here and actually write these business metrics. So you put current metrics, you set target metrics for the most important HR metrics, and you write very short plan of action, what you are going to do to improve these metrics. Then you select EVP factors for reinforcement. It's very important to focus on employer value proposition factors. You need to focus on them on a strategic level. And that's why you are choosing some very important factors. You have description, the level of satisfaction, and how you are going to reinforce it, how you are going to improve it. Then you put down your employee voice based on the recent surveys that you did. You write down what your employee need and want. Then you write the importance and plan of actions, how we are going to satisfy their needs. Because again, we need to take into consideration their voice and their needs. Then you look further ahead, like 5 years, and you write down your HR priorities for 5 years. Sometimes 1 year is not enough to develop something or improve something. And if you think on annual basis, you may skip some important things that needs even more time, like several years. And here is a chance not to forget about something that you are going to build within several years. So you write down your HR priorities. And now you are ready to formulate HR goals for the year. Usually you start from business goals and try to understand how HR goals could contribute into achieving of business goals. So you try to connect business goals with HR goals. And then you write down your HR goals for the upcoming year. Then you choose how you may measure achieving of these goals. So you write down some metrics and you set targets in form of numbers, figures. So you just need to use numbers to set targets. And that's it. Then you continue with required HR structure. When you have everything here, you have the whole understanding of what you are going to accomplish. And now you have very clear vision what kind of HR structure you need, what kind of role you need, how many people, what salaries could be, and how you can prove that you need all these people, what they are going to do, all these people. So you're writing your current HR team members and the number, and you add new team members. You may highlight it. For example, people partner is a vacancy. So you may write vacancy with the title. And if you have, let's say, recruiters, you may, if you want, you may list their names. Then you write down required resources and HR budget. You need to support your HR strategy with money, because sometimes if you want to achieve something, you need money as a resource. So you are putting here all your HR budget. It's not so detailed one, like you don't need to write every specific spending. It's just high level, okay? Because for very detailed HR budget, we have another file that we will be learning. So we don't need to write it in very detailed form, just a high level and we focus on the biggest spendings, and again we put some rationale for it. And if we are going to spend some new money for something, like we want to introduce new HR initiatives, we list these initiatives, we list all costs, and then we focus on benefits of implementation to the company, and then we try to digitalize benefits in form of money. So we are going to show that what we require or request is lower than what we expect in return. It's a very important thing. Only for new initiatives. You don't need to prove your current initiatives. This kind of rationale would be enough. So here you just list new spendings. Then you write HR team development plan. Usually, if you want to accomplish something new, like build something new, improve something, you need more knowledge for your HR team members, because with only current knowledge, they possibly could not achieve something more ambitious, something bigger. So it's very useful to think about their development and the budget for their development, like courses, conferences, maybe books or something like that. So here you just put HR team development plan. And again, HR strategy is the best place to approve the budget for HR team development, because it's reasonable, it's all connected and simple, so it's good. And then as a final point of your HR strategy, you write down your HR roadmap or roadmap of HR initiatives. It's an action plan to implement HR strategy. So you're going through the whole file, you're reading what you put here, and sometimes you even wrote something like here, basic recommendations, or maybe here, plan of actions, or maybe here, reinforcement plan. So all this is some kind of actions that you are going to take during the year. So you need to copy all of them or to develop in more details here. So I expect this to be like 30 to 50. It actually depends on the size of your HR department. Let's say you have 100 employees, then here you may have 100 items for your HR roadmap. But if your HR department is quite small, you have maybe 3 employees, then 20 or 30 items would be enough. If you are HR generalist, that's just you being the whole HR department, then maybe limit this up to 15 items and not more, because otherwise you will overwhelm yourself. And after you wrote down all HR initiatives, you are thinking about starting date and date of result. So you need to spread it over the whole year. You don't need to start everything at once and finish everything at once. You need to think about priorities, about better timing for all these initiatives. Something is done better at the beginning of the year, something in the middle, something at the end of the year. So think about these dates. And then if you have team, try to distribute all these initiatives among team members. And you will see how every team member is loaded with different initiatives. So you may find that you have, let's say, one name here and just one initiative. You may want to add some more initiatives to this person. And you may see that, for example, let's say you are leader in the company, HR leader, you have a lot of initiatives. So it's time to delegate. It's time to share with your subordinates. And again, if you are acting as a consultant and you have a lot of initiatives you would like to introduce with the company with the help of HR department, you may see that here you're not having enough HR people. So you want to come back to HR department structure and add some people here and copy paste some initiatives that they are going to run in the company. So that's how it works. How to formalize and how to present. You may use just Google Spreadsheet as is, as it presented in our webinar, and just send the link to your CEO or forever. You may download this as an Excel file as well, or you may put it in Microsoft Word or Google Docs form and add some text, some explanation, some other information, some sources. Or you may want to prefer to copy everything to PowerPoint presentation, again, maybe adding some text. If your company using Confluence or Notion or Microsoft Loop, could be like a space or page in this system, could be good as well. So it depends. It's up to you. There is no one solution, no one format that is good. You may use any format possible. You may even invent something new, something you want. You may want to print this, which is good as well. You may want to hire the designer to create some infographics around this, to present it even better. So it's up to you. How to implement the strategy? Ensure that the roadmap includes all activities that can realize all the ideas of the strategy. So after your strategy is approved, you will be working only with this spreadsheet, only with this part. So this is the most important part. And later you will be reporting by this initiative by initiative. So there will be another column with the status, and you will be reporting to the CEO of how it's going. So yeah, ensure that you have everything here. So let's say after you accomplished everything you list here, at the end of the year, the whole HR strategy is achieved. What else? Clearly assign roles. Involve people. Don't try to do everything yourself. Do team brainstorming on timing and prioritization. Actually, it's good to involve the whole team in developing HR strategy, the whole HR team. Use the OKR system to enter goals and objectives from the roadmap into the OKR system. Set up a meeting every 2 weeks to discuss the strategy with your team members. Specifically strategy, not just how things are going. You may have your weekly meetings with your team members. Then you need to add another meeting every 2 weeks just to discuss the strategy. And try to get some quick wins on low-hanging fruits. So try to implement something that you planned very quickly, so to have better motivation, better credibility, to show something to business leaders that HR strategy is executing, it's real, it's working, and yeah, just to create good impression of your HR work on the whole company. Now the homework, you need to fill in the strategy. For this, you have the template. Create your copy, choose proper language, and fill the file. Don't forget to make the file accessible by link so I can check. After I check and you have answer from myself on your email that your homework is checked or is accepted, then you may revoke the link and the access. So you may leave it just for you. And of course, don't forget to attach a link to your file in your personal account, student account. And self-assessment questions, now you have all answers. These questions was in Power HR Knowledge Audit Checklist. And now you are sure that you have all answers to these questions. Thank you for your attention. I'm waiting for your homework. Don't forget about our Telegram chat. So you may ask your questions. For example, if you are accomplishing your homework or your home assignment and you have some questions, or just work with materials and you have some questions, don't hesitate to ask in Telegram chat. You may find the link to the chat in your student account at the very top level. I think it's like a general information, something like that. And there is a link to Telegram chat. Or you may ask our support team to provide you the link or to help you navigate this link in your student account. Okay, that's it. Thank you again, and yeah, see you soon. Bye. Sorry? If you said something, please repeat because looks like I
Thank you. I suggest thank you.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, I see, I see. Thank you. Bye.